All right, guys. All I want to say is this before we begin our video is happy Memorial Day to everybody out there. All right. I hope that summer kicks ass. I hope that you guys are by the pool. I hope that you're playing golf, going fishing, hanging out by the lake. Have a great summer. Everybody that is watching this, that is what I am. That is what the message is before we kick off this video on college football quarterbacks. And I give credit out there to a lot of college football creators. I'm a fan of the industry of sports media and specifically college football. And a couple of my favorite publications out there, I'm just going to mention it, okay? On 3, Andy and Ari, love that show. They're talking about quarterback. Nick Bod, Husker Online, they're talking about quarterback. And I'm going to start to analyze really 2 quarterbacks that I think are so interesting heading into the 2025 football season, which I cannot wait for the college football season. Every single Saturday is going to be wall to wall. That's why you enjoy your summer. You spend it with your family, because when it's Saturday, that should be dedicated to watching and breaking down college football. All right, so let's talk about Dylan Raiola of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. This is a quarterback that when I saw him senior year play, when I saw Dylan play at what school was that down in Georgia? That Dylan Raiola. This is where it'd be good to have a producer. Dylan Raiola was the quarterback of a stacked team that played like an hour outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Maybe Cedar something, whatever. I know Dylan played even at Pitt. I know Dylan was even in Arizona. I know that he was even at Texas. Okay, so Dylan Raiola, when I saw that high school film of Dylan, I said this is the best quarterback that I have ever watched as a senior. Because Dylan Raiola, it was the best high school quarterback film I've ever watched. I mean, he's unloading 60-yard bombs. He's dropping the ball into the bucket. He's mobile. He's a powerhouse at 6'3". He has big hands. He's built from an offensive lineman, offensive lineman mentality, and his dad is an offensive lineman. So he's a kid that is really strong, like thick muscle mass, and that's important for a quarterback. So he checks every single box in terms of the tangibles of athleticism and the tangibles of quarterback. Then as a leader, he is a good intangible leader. I think it's interesting, too, that he's rocking with, a lot of the Mahomes stuff. He's paying a lot of homage to Patrick Mahomes, and a lot of people get annoyed by that he's too forward-facing and out there. But really, I view it as confidence, okay? And I actually like that about Dylan because he receives a lot of hate for, like, wearing the Oakleys and trying to copy Mahomes, and he's somebody that people think, he hasn't arrived yet. Why is he mimicking Mahomes? And he gets a lot of online hate for that. I don't hate him for that. And I actually think, like, it's kind of awesome that he's like, F you to the haters. I am that guy. And I do think that like, persona of kind of being of not really paying attention to those haters, like I think that's really good for Dylan. It's really interesting, though, because Cade Klubnik and Lenore Sellers, they're getting a ton of hype, even Garrett Nussmeier, but really Cade Klubnik and Clemson. And I think that Klubnik is an accurate quarterback. He came from a 5-star Austin Westlake, won all these games. Like, he is a great, great guy. He just is. Dylan and him, most quarterbacks, 95, 99% of them are great, great people, probably 95%. And Cade Klubnik is awesome kid in every respect. Everyone loves Cade, and he's a great, great guy. I view him more as Kenny Pickett at Pittsburgh, meaning like he's going to be good, college level, he's going to be pretty dang good. But I don't see the upper echelon NFL. I don't see him being an NFL starter. I don't think the arm is that strong. I think that the deep ball fades late. The arm doesn't have the life that Garrett Nussmeier's arm has. all right, that Drew Aller's arm has. He just doesn't have the physical tools of those guys. Now, could he and Clemson still win at a big enough level? Could he still execute and be a college football national champion? He does have that capability of putting together a good season and winning these games. But Clemson, I'm not sure. I mean, their defensive line apparently is really, really good, but I don't really see Clemson winning a national championship. And I think that Klubnik can be defended against. And I think that we're putting a lot of hype and a lot of stock into Klubnik and into all of these other players. I see Klubnik being a 5th-round quarterback. I see him being Kyle McCord. So that's lower. So then it gets into the discussion, right? Cade Klubnik, NFL potential, not there, but can he still win a college national championship? Could he still be like Troy Smith or Chris Leak at the college level and be awesome? Could he be Will Howard? He could be. But I don't think Clemson's wide receivers are good enough. All right. And I don't see Clemson beating Texas. I don't see Clemson beating Ohio State. I don't see Clemson beating Oregon. And so, but going back to Dylan Raiola, because I'm going between Raiola, I'm going to analyze Cade Klubnik, and then we're going to analyze another quarterback. Dylan Raiola has all the NFL talent. So if it were as an evaluator, Dylan Raiola has a chance to be an NFL star, but is he going to be a star in Lincoln, Nebraska? A star under Dana Holgorsen in this offense? I like Emmett Johnson. I like the pieces that Dylan has. Matt Rhule's kind of keeping this offseason quiet. This is the year that Matt Rhule needs a 9-win year. He just does, because he's kind of come out there. He's talking about the non-con, which I don't exactly like, about getting rid of games. He got rid of the spring game, which really irked me. He did this whole series last year where it's like chasing 3 points, and they still lost to Iowa and still lost to UCLA and still need to fire their offensive coordinator. So the reason, too, why Dylan's not getting that hype is because Nebraska fans are just sick. They're just sick of losing. They're sick of all this hype, and they just want to be shown. Okay, so all the fans, got really excited, and then the end of the year last year, there were some stinkers. Like Rutgers wasn't very good. Indiana was an absolute joke in Bloomington. They got blown off the map by Indiana last year. That was humiliating. Okay, the UCLA game at home against a Deshaun Foster in first year. The Huskers they completely just nosedived the season. They were a team that, again, they peaked at Colorado. They peaked against Illinois before actually Illinois ended up beating them in that overtime period. Dylan Raiola, it's funny. So Cade Klubnik, really good quarterback, like actually really, really underrated quarterback in college last year, now is getting this push. Now Clemson, they're talking about national championship. I think Clemson can win an ACC championship, all right, but I don't think that they're serious to win the national championship. And Cade Klubnik is not going to be a 1st or 2nd or a 3rd-round pick. He's going to be a 5th-round pick, all right? And again, I like Cade Klubnik. I said that in this video, all right? But I don't think this Clemson defensive line is that good. I do not think Tom Allen in year one. There's a lot of transition here. You're replacing Wes Goodwin. People are just really jumping the gun on Clemson. I like Oregon and I like Texas. Okay, and Penn State. I like those 3 teams so much better. I love Drew Aller in this offensive system. Okay, you could say that Tom Allen left Penn State, but Tom Allen was a better DC than Wes Goodwin. I got that one wrong. I was a big Wes Goodwin guy. It didn't work out. Okay. Penn State still has really good defense, and their offense is going to be insane. These running backs are that good. Drew Aller, to me, is that good. People just really focus on the Notre Dame interception. They focus on these little minute end-of-the-season details. They're not seeing the bigger picture that Drew Aller, 6'5", can throw the ball 65 to 70 yards, is really, really mobile, is really, really confident. This is year 3. He has all of the physical tools. So if I were to say who's going to win the Heisman, who's going to be the best quarterbacks in college football, I am saying Drew Aller, and I'm saying Arch Manning and Nussmeier. And then it could be Lagway and Sellers, and Lagway and Sellers are really talented. I would probably even go with Lagway, but I'm concerned about this injury. He can't even throw in the spring with the shoulder. And Lenore Sellers, they replaced a ton on South Carolina's defense, and their wide receivers at South Carolina aren't even that good. And I don't know about Chris Shula or Mike Shula calling plays. Dowell Loggins had that thing rolling, and then he takes the Appalachian State job. That's a huge deal that people are overlooking here when looking at Lenore Sellers, when looking at that quarterback. So I'm amazed at the hype that Clemson is getting right now with Dabo Swinney. I'm amazed at the talk. Okay, and I guess it's Peter Woods. I guess it's these great defensive players that are that talented on the Clemson defensive line. It is Matt Luke and probably the O-line coach. Clemson did have their way at times last year, but against Texas, their defense was terrible. They were never a threat to win that game. And I know that Cade had some plays late in that game, but I'm not calling those garbage time plays, but you're down by a lot. You didn't quit. You looked all right. That's where all the hype's probably coming from, is that people are thinking Drew Aller, late interception, Drew Aller, not good, Drew Aller is trash because he lost to Notre Dame. And then they're thinking Cade Klubnik was so respectable in that 14-point loss against Texas. It just is wild to me to see this. So I think Dylan's going to bounce back. I think Dylan can have a good year. I think Matt Rhule, 9-3 is going to be the year for Nebraska. I think they're going to be damn good. And we're going to go look at the schedule, and we're going to analyze all this stuff. But the Cade Klubnik hype is just something that I want you guys to kind of consider right now. Do you see him being a first-round pick? Do you see Clemson national championship? Do you see Clemson being a championship contender? I don't. And I'm wondering what y'all think.